The first note rose into the bright morning air like a trembling bird, fragile and brave, and it stopped an entire building mid-breath. Sunlight spilled through tall glass windows, dust floating like gold, and for one impossible moment, a janitor's voice held the power to undo years of quiet cruelty. No one had expected that sound, least of all the woman who had forced him to sing. If you believe in kindness and second chances, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Life Spark Stories, because stories like this remind us why compassion still matters. Silas Crowe had spent 12 years cleaning the marble floors of the Lyric and Arts Center, always during the day when students rehearsed and executives toured. He moved softly, as if trying not to exist, pushing his cart past posters of famous performers whose names glowed in gold. His uniform was always neat, his hair carefully combed, his eyes trained on the ground. Few people noticed him, and fewer still remembered his name. He carried his life quietly, the way some people carry grief, folded and hidden, careful not to spill. That morning the building buzzed with anticipation. A prestigious daytime audition workshop was underway, led by Maren Holt, a celebrated vocal patron known as much for her influence as for her sharp tongue. She believed excellence was born from pressure, and pressure often looked like humiliation. As Silas wiped fingerprints from a practice room door, Maren noticed him lingering. To her, he was an interruption, a reminder of a world beneath the polished surface. In a moment that drew laughter from nervous onlookers, she decided to make an example of him, ordering him to sing in front of everyone, not to inspire, but to diminish. Silas felt the weight of every eye as the room turned toward him. His hands shook, and memories pressed in from another life, one he had buried after loss and failure taught him silence. The humiliation burned, but something deeper stirred, something that had waited patiently for daylight. He closed his eyes, drew a breath that tasted of floor cleaner and sunlight, and sang. The sound that emerged was not loud at first, but it was honest. It carried the ache of years spent unnoticed and the tenderness of dreams postponed, shaped by discipline learned long before mops and buckets replaced sheet music. As the notes grew, they filled the hall, warm and steady, touching corners of the room that applause never reached. The building seemed to listen. The laughter faded. Even Maren Holt stiffened, her practiced smirk dissolving into something unguarded. Silas sang of endurance without words, of morning light after long nights, of dignity reclaimed not through defiance but through beauty. His voice held cracks where life had pressed too hard, and those cracks made it real. When the final note settled, it did not end sharply. It lingered, like a truth no one could deny. The silence afterward was heavier than any insult that had come before. Something shifted that day under the open sky and high windows. Orrin Vale, the center's daytime program director, stepped forward with a look that mixed awe and regret. Staff members who had passed Silas daily without seeing him now stood still, confronted by the humanity they had ignored. Maren Holt, faced with the mirror of her own cruelty, found no words to restore her authority. The power had moved, quietly, irrevocably. In the days that followed, Silas was no longer invisible. Invitations replaced avoidance. His past, once hidden, was gently uncovered, revealing training, sacrifice, and a love for music that had never died, only slept. The Lyric and Arts Center, bathed each day in sunlight and possibility, became a place of restoration rather than dismissal. Even Maren, humbled by the moment she could not control, began to change, learning that greatness demanded respect as much as talent. Near the end of this story, if it has touched your heart even a little, please engage with this video, because your support helps stories of quiet courage reach others who need them. Just before we close, leave a comment with one word that this story made you feel, so we can read your hearts too.